Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here again to really cut through the noise and get you informed quickly and thoroughly. Today, we are diving deep into, well, what seems like a niche area, but it's surprisingly dynamic. We're talking about the legal accounting software market. Our source material is this really comprehensive market forecast report. I mean, it's absolutely packed with data revenue figures, regional stuff, projections all the way out to 2033 from a 2021 baseline.
Exactly. And our job really is to pull out the most important bits, those key nuggets of knowledge from all these numbers. We want to help you understand the trajectory of this industry and crucially why it's growing the way it is. It's a shortcut sort of to grasping a big shift in professional services.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because I think you might genuinely be surprised by just how big this market is actually getting. So globally, back in 2021, the legal accounting software market, it was valued at $770.07 million. A pretty solid number.
Yeah, substantial.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Fast forward just 4 years to 2025. The projection, $2,834.6 million. And then you look out to 2033, it's projected to hit a whopping $7,269.35 million.
Wow.
That works out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 12.493%. That's pretty robust growth year over year.
It really is. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that this isn't just, standard expansion. It reflects something more fundamental. It's like a tectonic shift in how law practices globally are handling their finances. This boom is basically driven by a huge demand for streamlined, compliant, and frankly, more advanced accounting solutions that are specifically built for law firms.
Right.
I mean, think about the complexities. Trust accounting, client billing, all the regulations, generic software just, it can't keep up.
No, that makes perfect sense. And those numbers, they really highlight how vital this market's becoming, especially if you're interested in, say, the intersection of tech and professional services. It's a very clear signal. This whole digital transformation thing isn't just a buzzword. It's a real, measurable, multi-billion-dollar reality. Even in a field like law, which people sometimes think is, slow to change.
Precisely.
So, okay, that's the big picture. Impressive growth across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But where's the real energy? Where's the acceleration happening? Can you walk us through the regional breakdowns? Are they the same everywhere, or are there some standouts?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dig into that. We can start with North America. It's a huge chunk of the market, right? In 2021, sales revenue there was about $704.5 million. It's expected to climb to nearly $1.11 billion by 2025. And then looking out to 2033, it's projected to reach $2,755 million. So $2.75 billion, that's a strong CAGR too, 12.038%.
12%. And within North America, I assume the U.S. is the main driver.
Oh, absolutely. The United States is definitely the major contributor, holds the lion's share. It's estimated to hit, over $2.1 billion by 2033 on its own. But it's important to note it's not just the U.S. Canada's got a CAGR of 12.68%, Mexico 12.22%. So, strong growth across the continent.
Right. It's this pretty widespread adoption then.
Yeah.
Maturing market, embracing efficiency.
Exactly.
Okay, so from the Americas, let's hop across the pond to Europe. Always interesting with its different legal systems and regulations. How are things looking there?
Europe's another significant player. Its market was around $384 million back in 2021. The projection for 2033 is just under $1.5 billion, so $1,490 million roughly. The CGR there is quite similar, actually, 12.022%, just over 12%.
Okay. Any particular countries leading the charge in Europe?
Well, what's notable is the consistency, really. Germany shows very strong growth, a CAGR of almost 12.8%. They're projected to go from about $75 million to over $312 million.
Wow.
Yeah. The UK is also strong, CAGR around 12.4%. They're looking at growing from roughly $54 million to over $217 million.
So it's pretty widespread then, not just concentrated in a couple big economies.
That's the key takeaway. France, Italy, Spain, they're all showing growth rates around 11, 12%. Even, smaller markets. Take Luxembourg. Started small, just under $5 million in 2021, but still growing consistently at nearly 11% CAGR. It really paints a picture of a continent-wide trend, driven by that universal need for, better financial control in law firms.
Okay. Now let's pivot. You mentioned some regions are really booming.
Mhm.
Where are we seeing that explosive kind of growth? Maybe regions playing catch-up or even leapfrogging? Asia-Pacific, I think you flagged?
Yes, Asia Pacific. If we're talking about leading the charge, this is it. Not just in raw numbers, but the sheer speed of adoption. All right, so they started at about $439 million in 2021, the projection for 2033. almost $2 billion,
Okay.
$1,999 million to be precise. And this region has the highest overall regional CAGR, nearly 13.5%, 13.477%.
13.5. That's significantly higher than North America and Europe.
It is. China's a huge part of that, of course. Projected to hit over $640 million by 2033, with a CAGR over 13.6%.
Right. But I thought I saw something about India maybe being even faster.
Ah, yes, you picked up on that. India's market is, well, the report uses the word soaring, and it fits. It started relatively small, just over $59 million in 2021, but it's projected to hit over $259 million by 2033. And get this, the CAGR for India is the highest individual country CAGR we've seen, 14.558%.
14.5%. Wow. Okay, what's driving that, do you think? Is that leapfrog effect you mentioned?
It really suggests that. It might be, emerging legal markets skipping older systems and jumping straight to modern solutions, maybe a younger, more digitally native legal sector. Or perhaps government pushes for digital transformation. Hard to say for sure from just the numbers, but the growth is undeniable. And it's not just India. Singapore, South Korea, Southeast Asia as a bloc, Taiwan, they're all showing qualities in the 13 to 14% range. Japan and Australia are a bit lower, but still strong, around 12 point something percent.
That idea of leapfrogging is really interesting. Not just slow upgrades, but jumping right to the cutting edge. Okay, let's look at South America next. How does their growth stack up?
South America is also showing really significant growth. It's going from about $108 million in 2021 to nearly $460 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 12.813%. So again, very robust.
And within South America, Brazil leading.
Yes, Brazil is the largest market there, projected to reach over $180 million by 2033, with a CRA just under 13%. But again, it's a broader trend. Argentina's CAGR is actually higher, over 13.3%. Chile's are at 13.1%. Colombia, Peru are also showing solid double-digit growth, mostly in the 12s.
Okay, it just keeps reinforcing this idea, doesn't it? The need for these tools is truly global. It's not limited to the usual tech hubs. All right, let's round out the global tour. Middle East and Africa. How pervasive is this market's reach there?
Let's look at the Middle East first. The market there is projected to grow from roughly $71 million in 2021 to just under $300 million by 2033. The CAGR is strong, about 12.74%. And here, the UAE is showing particularly strong momentum. It has the highest CAGR in the Middle East at 13.3%. Turkey's also very strong, around 13.2%. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, all showing solid growth above 12%.
So, again, reflecting that investment in digital infrastructure and modernizing professional services we hear about in that region.
Seems likely, yes.
And finally, Africa, sometimes seen as a frontier market. What are the numbers telling us there?
Africa's legal accounting software market is growing too, from about $64 million in 2021 up to $266 million projected for 2033. The CAGR is a solid 12.063%. South Africa is a key player, actually boasting the highest CAGR in Africa at 12.73%. Nigeria is also contributing significantly with growth over 12.3%.
Yeah.
So yeah, these regions are definitely part of this global digital shift. They're seeking the same efficiencies, the same compliance benefits.
Right. So let's pull this all together. We've gone through a lot of numbers, a lot of regions. What does it all mean for you, the listener, whether you're, say, a lawyer thinking about modernizing, an investor looking at growth areas, or maybe just someone interested in how tech impacts different sectors?
Well, the main theme, the overarching story here is incredibly clear, I think. We're seeing consistent, strong global growth.
Hmm.
And it's not random. It's driven by this universal, almost non-negotiable need for efficiency, for accuracy, and critically for compliance in legal practices. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. It proves that digital transformation isn't just, talk. It's a real, tangible, multi-billion-dollar market in action. And it does raise an important question, doesn't it? With all this growth and the diverse needs of firms worldwide, what specific innovations will the software need next? How will it keep meeting these ever-increasing demands?
Exactly. And understanding these specific numbers, these regional trends, it gives you a much, much deeper insight than just knowing tech is growing. It really pinpoints where the big shifts are happening, the scale of the investment going into this really crucial specialized market. This deep dive, I think, really shows the value of drilling down into the specific data. It gives you, hopefully, some concrete, maybe even actionable insights into a pretty significant industry that's expanding fast.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. As this market keeps evolving, how do you think Legal tech developers will bridge that gap. The gap between, say, increasingly complex global regulations on one side and the demand for a really seamless, easy user experience on the other. That's going to be a key challenge, I suspect, something to consider.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and get you informed fast. Today, we're plunging into a sector that, well, it might seem pretty traditional, but it's actually going through this huge tech revolution behind the scenes. We're talking about the legal accounting software market. Our mission. It's really to give you a shortcut, a real understanding of this key piece of legal tech. It's often overlooked, you know. We're going to unpack what's driving its growth, what's holding it back, those stubborn restraints, and maybe most excitingly, the trends shaping its future. Forget the dry stuff. We want you to find those aha moments, the surprising bits that show why this market is so dynamic and frankly so crucial for legal pros today.
Absolutely. And we'll aim to give you that context, the real world implications.
Mhm.
How do these software details connect to the day-to-day financial juggling act in a law firm? And how does it fit into the bigger picture of tech changing the legal world?
Okay, perfect. Let's jump right in then. What's really propelling this market forward? What are those core forces making this specialized software, well, almost indispensable now?
Well, I think the first thing, and it's fascinating really, is just how different the financial needs of law firms and legal departments are. They're not your average business, not at all.
Different how?
Think about it. They need very specific tools, things like trust accounting, managing client funds meticulously, precise time tracking that needs to convert directly into bills,
Right.
and matter-based billing, where you pull together all the expenses and hours for one case, sometimes over years.
Right.
Your standard off-the-shelf accounting software, it just it really can't cope with that kind of detail. So specialized legal accounting software is literally built for these unique complexities.
That really hits home. I mean, if you've ever tried, or even just imagined, trying to track client money across maybe hundreds of different cases by hand,
Wow.
you
Nothing.
immediately see the challenge. And there's this increasing pressure, isn't there, for accuracy and transparency in how firms handle money. It feels like it's more than just good practice now.
Oh, it's way beyond good practice. It's often a regulatory must. And that directly fuels the need for this software. It shifts it from a nice to have to a need to have.
Which leads neatly into the compliance side of things.
Precisely. That's the second massive driver,
Hmm.
those heightened regulatory and compliance obligations. In the legal world, compliance is, well, it's non-negotiable. You mess it up, and the consequences can be severe.
Like what specifically?
Well, think about IALTA. That's
Oh.
interest on lawyers' trust accounts. It sounds niche, but firms have to track tiny amounts of interest earned on potentially thousands of client trust accounts
Okay.
and ensure every single cent goes where it's supposed to, like to state-approved charities. Plus, they need an audit trail that can survive intense scrutiny from the state bar. That's just one example.
Mhm.
Then add anti-money laundering rules, other financial regulations. These frameworks demand really robust, really precise reporting. You need those clear audit trails.
So for a busy law firm, what does this practically mean? Is it just about avoiding fines, or is there more to it?
It's definitely about more than just dodging penalties, though that's obviously important. It's fundamentally about building trust with clients, with regulators.
Right.
When
Trust.
the software automates things like client billing and manages trust funds correctly with compliance checks built in, it cuts down human errors significantly. It gives you audit trails in real time.
Okay.
And importantly, it frees up a lot of admin time. It helps firms become, let's say, audit ready all the time, not just scrambling when an auditor calls. That's a real strategic edge.
I can see that. Being audit ready, being proactive instead of reactive. And I guess that frees up lawyers to focus more on, well, on being lawyers, doing the billable work.
Exactly. Which brings us nicely to the third driver, this big wave of digital transformation and automation that's washing over legal practices.
It feels like every industry is going through this.
It really is. And law firms, big and small, are embracing digital tools to streamline how they work. Legal accounting software is right at the heart of that. It automates things like creating invoices, tracking expenses, reconciling accounts, tasks that used to take hours, sometimes days, of careful manual work. Now they can be almost instant.
Wow.
And the benefit is huge. It means lawyers spend less time buried in administrative tasks, the busy work, and more time on the high-value stuff, helping clients working on cases.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I suppose for firms that are trying to grow, maybe mid-sized firms, getting that operational efficiency, being digitally ready, That must be a huge advantage.
It's massive. For those mid-sized and scaling firms especially, this isn't just about saving a bit of time. It can actually enable new ways of working, like collaborating easily across different offices or expanding quickly into new areas of law. It helps build a firm that's more agile, more ready for the future.
Okay, so the drivers are pretty compelling. Specialized needs, tough regulations, the push for automation. But it can't be all smooth sailing. There must be challenges, right? Hurdles to getting the software adopted everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Despite the clear benefits, there are definitely significant restraints, big hurdles.
Like what? What's the main one?
Probably the biggest one, particularly for the smaller players, is the initial cost. It's not just buying the software license.
The hidden cost.
Exactly. You've got to factor in migrating all your data from the old system, which can be messy, then customizing the new software so it actually fits how your firm works. And critically, you need to train your staff properly to use it.
Right, training. That takes time and money too.
It does. And when you add all that up, the license, the migration, the customization, the training, it can be a pretty hefty investment.
Mm.
For a solo lawyer or a small firm watching every penny, that upfront cost can be a real deterrent. They might see the benefits, but the immediate financial hit is just too much.
So the price tag isn't just the software itself. It's the whole implementation project. What part of that setup seems to cause the most headaches for firms?
Often it's getting the new system to play nicely with all the other software they already use. That's the integration challenge.
Yeah.
Law firms rarely have just one tool. They usually have a whole stack. Something for case management, maybe another for documents, communication tools, client intake
The
software.
whole ecosystem.
Exactly. And trying to plug a new accounting system into that complex web, it's not always straightforward. It often needs custom work, like building specific connections or relying on third-party tools that might be a bit clunky.
So that adds more complexity and probably more cost.
Definitely has complexity, and yes, usually more expense too.
Hmm.
It can turn what should be an exciting upgrade into a real technical headache.
It sounds a bit like trying to get all your smart home gadgets from different companies to actually talk to each other. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's just frustrating.
That's actually a pretty good analogy, except, the stakes are much higher here. People's livelihoods, client confidentiality, it's serious stuff.
True. Okay, so cost and integration are big ones. What else?
The third major restraint, and this ties back often to smaller firms again, is a lack of in-house IT expertise.
Right. Not every firm has a dedicated IT department.
Not at all. Many smaller practices just don't have those resources. So without that specialized tech support readily available, things like setting up the system correctly, maintaining it, troubleshooting problems, they can become major pain points.
So they might buy this powerful software.
Exactly. They might invest in a really powerful tool, but if they don't have the technical know-how internally or maybe the budget for ongoing external support, they might struggle to actually use all its features effectively.
That's quite the irony, isn't it? You get this advanced system, but you might only be using a fraction of what it can actually do because the expertise isn't there.
It happens more often than you'd think. They might just be scratching the surface of its capabilities.
Okay, so we've got the drivers pushing things forward and these restraints, cost, integration, IT skills holding things back. Let's pivot now and look ahead. What are the exciting trends? What's shaping the future of legal accounting software?
Well, one of the biggest trends, undoubtedly, is the move to the cloud. Cloud-based solutions are really becoming the standard, the go-to platform for law firms now.
Why the big shift to cloud?
Several reasons. Flexibility is huge. It allows lawyers and staff to access the system from anywhere, which is essential for remote or hybrid work setups. The upfront costs are often lower, too, compared to buying and maintaining your own servers.
Okay, lower infrastructure cost. Makes sense.
Yeah, and cloud providers often handle things like updates and backups automatically. Plus, many cloud platforms build in compliance features and security protocols, which takes a big burden off the firm itself.
Okay, let's unpack the flexibility part a bit more. You said remote access, which is key now. But does going cloud change things more fundamentally for how a law firm might operate, like geographically?
Oh, absolutely. It's a potential game changer. Beyond just letting existing staff work remotely, it enables firms to operate in a truly virtual way if they want to.
Meaning?
Meaning, they could hire the best talent regardless of location. They could serve clients anywhere without needing expensive physical offices in every city. It fundamentally changes the firm's potential footprint, offering much greater scalability and resilience.
Wow, okay. That's a pretty profound shift enabled by the tech. So, cloud is big. What else is emerging?
Another really important trend is the much deeper integration within the software itself, specifically around time tracking and billing.
So it's not just about accounting anymore?
Not just pure accounting, no. Modern tools are getting much smarter about the whole workflow. They have really intuitive ways to track time spent on tasks, often built right in. Then they automate the process of turning that time into accurate bills and sending invoices to clients.
Ah, connecting the dots from work done to getting paid.
Exactly. It streamlines that whole revenue cycle. It reduces errors in billing, which, can cause disputes with clients. It just makes it much easier to capture every billable minute and, crucially, get paid for it efficiently.
That sounds like music to the ears of any law firm partner, making sure the billing is smooth and accurate that hits the bottom line
It
directly.
really does. It's a massive relief for busy lawyers who'd rather be practicing law than chasing invoices.
Definitely. Okay, cloud. Better time billing integration. What's the third key trend?
The third one is a massive focus on data security and compliance tools. This is becoming absolutely paramount.
Why the increased focus now?
Well, cyber threats are constantly evolving, getting more sophisticated, and law firms handle incredibly sensitive client information, financial data, confidential case details. A breach is potentially catastrophic, not just financially, but reputationally.
So security is top of mind. How are software providers responding?
They're stepping up their game. We're seeing more advanced security features baked in. Things like strong data encryption, both when data is stored and when it's transmitted. Granular access controls, meaning you can specify exactly who gets to see or do what within the system, and operating within secure, certified cloud environments.
And compliance ties into this too.
Absolutely. Alongside security, there's a constant need to meet ever-changing financial and legal regulations. Good software helps embed compliance checks and reporting capabilities directly into the workflow. It's not an afterthought anymore, it's expected. It's foundational.
It really underscores that point about trust, doesn't it? In the legal profession, trust is everything. And it seems like technology, especially around handling money and data securely, is becoming absolutely fundamental to maintaining and even strengthening that trust in our digital age. Well, that feels like a pretty comprehensive journey through the legal accounting software market. We've dug into the key drivers, those specialized needs, the regulatory pressures, the automation wave. We've looked at the restraints, the costs, the integration pains, the IT skills gap, and we've explored the future, the rise of cloud, integrated billing, and that critical focus on security and compliance. It's really clear, isn't it? As law firms keep modernizing, as regulations get more complex, software that's truly tailored for the legal world isn't just helpful anymore, it seems more critical than ever.
It absolutely is. And it leaves us with a really interesting thought to consider, something for you, the listener, to perhaps mull over. As this digital transformation in law continues, and as compliance demands inevitably become even more intricate, even more dynamic, how might this legal accounting software evolve next? Could it move beyond just tracking and reporting? Could it become truly predictive, helping firms anticipate financial challenges or compliance risks before they even happen, ensuring not just stability but real financial foresight?